You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I'm Stephen Cabral, and we are about to begin our weekend house call. So I'm excited for this weekend. We're going to go through the most amount of questions we've ever gotten through in one weekend, but I'm absolutely going to try my best to keep each show at the 20-minute mark. So that's a challenge I have in front of me, even with the most questions that we've ever seen before. And so I'm really excited to get started. It's a nice little challenge for myself as well to be a little bit more concise, but still give you the information that you absolutely do need. And I'll tell you, this week has been a busy week. So I'm recording this, just the day before on Friday, currently at the Wellness Center. We've got a lot going on in the background, so I apologize if you hear a little bit of noise there. But, it's just been busy we're at the final stages of editing for my book, which will hopefully be out late spring. That's what we're shooting for. Early summer, but late spring is my goal. And just a lot happening, a lot going on. We've got so many great things to bring you really over the next 3 or 4 months. Really excited about that. So again, please do stay tuned for all these developments. All really exciting. And of course, really, it's all education based. It's all teaching based. I'll be doing courses on gut health in the future and helping practitioners as well as just the general public, which is what I work with on a daily basis. We don't just work with people in Boston. We work with people all over the world through Skype, and not just myself, but also the health coaches on my team. So a really exciting time, not because of the amount of people that we're able to now work with and help, but really because I see natural health really just rapidly expanding. It looks like right now that the majority of people, literally the majority of people in most, I don't know if the developed world is the right term, but are turning towards alternative health as a second opinion. And this is it's a fantastic time to really be alive and to get healthy. Now, I'm telling you right now that no matter what you're struggling with right now, you can get well and will get well if you just follow down the journey towards natural health. People ask me like, oh, well, I'm not better yet, because they're working with a functional medicine practitioner, and they could be absolutely fantastic. Because again, I'm not the only source of this information. And what I tell them is, you've been doing this for 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. You're not automatically going to get better in 2 months. You've been struggling with this for a year, 2 years, a decade. Give it some time. Your body takes time to heal. These aren't pharmaceutical drugs. What we're doing is detoxifying the body. We're healing at a deeper level, at a cellular level, at a genetic level, and that just takes time. So be gentle with yourself. Look for weekly progress and monthly progress. You're going to get there no matter what. So that's my 2.5 minutes now out of my 20 minutes. So let's get right into today's questions. Okay, I'm not going to be able to read the entire question today of people's questions, but as always, just go to the show notes page. And today is stephencabral.com/442. And you will see all of the different questions that people wrote in. Sometimes they're just quite long. Do keep in mind, I've read your questions, so there's no doubt about that, but I just can't take the time. It would take me, believe it or not, I can read quickly, and I'll give people want to know how I read so quickly. I will teach that, because again, it was taught to me. I don't make these things up in the future, but I read out loud very slowly. So I'm not going to be able to read the whole question for everyone. But the first one's coming in from LaSandra. She says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I found your podcast a few weeks ago, and I've been obsessively trying to catch up on previous calls. My good friend has been struggling with some neurological issues and cannot get the answers from her physicians. A few months ago, she had a cervical disc replacement in her neck, but her symptoms continue to worsen. Burning sensations in her mouth, tongue, upper shoulders, and head. She feels like she has a lump in her throat. Recently found out extremely high B6 levels, even after quitting her multivitamin. I've heard you talk about MTHFR gene before and if it could be related." So she's asking, what's going on so that she can give her friends some of this advice. Well, the truth is that I've looked deep into my genetics because, the reason why I took the path that I did is because my mentor was the first person I had ever met to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing principles with state-of-the-art functional medicine. And, kind of surprise, surprise, that's what I do today. And I just a pretty obsessive person myself. And so I said, well, I'm just not going to use Ayurvedic and functional medicine. I'm going to travel all over the world. I'm going to study traditional Chinese medicine, Taoist medicine. I'm going to study yoga, and I'm going to study manual lymph drainage and the Vater technique, and all these different things. And I'm going to say what really works. And so that was my skeptical brain combining everything. But she taught me that when you look at your genetics, and we honestly offer, it's not ours, so keep in mind, these lab tests are not ours. We're the facilitators of those, but we offer the most amazing lab for genetic testing. You can obviously see it right on our website. You do it once. Some people are actually over methylators, not just under methylators. Methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase, what MTHFR is really an inability to control and regulate certain B vitamins, namely B12, methylcobalamin, and methylfolate. And so it's just folic acid basically and B12. There are other ones as well. But what happens is you can actually take too much of those methyl vitamins, which is why I worked so hard, so specifically to find a B vitamin with lower levels of methylated folate. It's called Nature Folate, only 200 micrograms. And that's because I've looked at the research, and I know that you can take too much folic acid. You really can if you're someone who doesn't do well with this methylation. So to make a long story short, LaSandra, it sounds like this person right now is having a difficult time with their liver, meaning their liver is also not processing all of these vitamins and being able to get rid of them from their bloodstream as well. And so what I would recommend is you can do an organic acid test, not just for candida and yeast, which we talk about for the most part of bacteria, but also to see how our detox system is working and look at those B vitamin levels again. So Dr. Cabral Detox, an organic acids test is certainly a great first place to start, and then find a good, whether it's a muscular therapist or active release technique-based chiropractor, to work on the realignment of those cervical vertebrae from a natural-based perspective. I, of course, can't talk about those actual procedures over a podcast, but those are my places to start. So hopefully that helps. Okay, Angela is up next. She writes, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. First off, thank you for your amazing work. I've been listening to your podcast for only a few months now and has become part of my daily routine. I've already seen some rewarding progress by the numerous little changes you've suggested. I've also spoken very highly of you to friends, colleagues, and family, and borderline becoming the nutrition nerd that is full of fun facts and guidance." Thank you for saying that. Now for the question, "I've always struggled with acne and digestive issues since I was a kid, but nothing acute or serious. My mother was always hesitant about antibiotics. Let's see what's going on. I've been detoxing biannually for 3 years now, and 2 days ago, I just finished your 14-day Dr. Cabral detox. Wow, I feel amazing. However, before I started the detox, I completed an IgG food sensitivity test. The top 5 foods were elevated: egg whites, cow's milk, yeast, cashews, and rice. Show some sensitivity for dairy and wheat, almonds, amaranth, beans, kidney beans, peas. Let's see if I can get through all of this. It's quite a long question. Okay, real question time, she writes. How long should I cut out these foods to see results, and what should I be doing to heal my gut? What is the best way to naturally increase my stomach acid to produce healthy levels? Can I ever eat these foods again? Okay, this is a really good question. So she's talking about food sensitivities. Okay, so we run an amazing food sensitivity test. Now remember, we handpick, meaning like I handpick the best of the best labs of all the labs in the United States. So I picked the number one lab for food sensitivity, the number one lab for genetic testing, and they're not the same. I'm just not one of those people who says, okay, I'm going to use doctor's data for every single thing that I run, or I'm going to use Genova for every lab. It's not. I'm going to pick the best in category because my only loyalty are to my listeners, you, and the patients that I see. And that's basically it. I mean, I would do for you what I would do for myself. And that's obviously my recommendations. Like, why would I ever recommend something different for someone else just because I want to like profit from it online or something like that? That seems like you wouldn't be able to sleep very well at night, or at least that's how it would be for me. So the food sensitivity test we do is amazing. Sounds like you already did one, Angela, which is great, the IgG. Here's the thing. When you're sensitive to that many things, you have an increased permeability-based issue, a leaky gut-based issue. You're leaking these proteins into your bloodstream, and you're immunoglobulin G, the IgG, are reacting to these things. That's going to cause autoimmune-based issues potentially in the future, all sorts of issues, inflammation-based issues, joint issues. So what we have to do is we have to seal up that gut wall. So if you don't have the bloating, the yeast, gas, any of those things, well, then you don't have to do the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. But if you do, then you want to do that. The second step is you should do, my recommendation, of course, is the gut rebuilding protocol. And that's simply the clean gut probiotic as well as a healthy gut support. You'll do that for 90 days. That will help to close up the gut wall, those increased gaps. And then you'll want to eliminate these foods for a period of about 12 weeks. The ones that were extremely high, you'll eliminate for 6 months. Now, some people will never be able to have dairy without having an actual reaction. Same with gluten. Same with egg whites. But for the most part, after about 12 weeks, about 3 months, most people can try to introduce these things and see how they do. However, just keep in mind an IgG reaction is a latent reaction, which means you don't feel anything. There's no inflammation, there's no stuffiness, there's no fatigue, brain fog for 24 hours to up to 3 days, 72 hours. And that's why it's challenging to figure out. So a lot of people decide to do a retest after eliminating those foods for 12 weeks and obviously doing the gut rebuilding protocol. Angela, that is your place to start. All right, Emily's up next. Hi, Dr. Ball. Thank you for doing this podcast and spreading the knowledge. I recently got my blood test back, and my hemoglobin A1C is 5.4. Estimated glucose average is 108 milligrams per deciliter. How do you prevent prediabetes and get my hemoglobin A1C down? My mother is prediabetes, and grandmother on my mom's side has diabetes. Thank you. All right, Emily. This is an easy one for me to answer. I'm going to refer you back to Wednesday's show, episode 439. That will teach you how to rebalance your blood sugar levels and get them back to a lower level. So your fasting glucose should be between 75, a little lower is okay, and 95 milligrams per deciliter right when you wake up. You can just use a very inexpensive glucometer. We link up to one on the show notes on page 439. So StephenCabral.com/439. And that will give you, it's like $22, really inexpensive. Test your blood sugar when you wake up. And you can do that a couple hours after eating as well. But really, the first morning fasted glucose is the most important to look at for diabetes-based issues, okay? And prediabetes or type 2 diabetes is over 126. And prediabetes really is over 95 upon waking, or at least 100 upon waking. That will give you the best data. Hemoglobin A1C is weighted most heavily over the blood sugar, insulin, red blood cell health over the past 90 days, but truly over the last 120 days. So doing the fasting glucose, just finger poke is your best bet for daily statistics. Okay. Amanda is up next. I would like to know what my mom can do to improve her memory. As it appears, she is in the early stages of Alzheimer's and dementia. She is 61, not overweight, eats relatively healthy, maybe drinks 3 to 5 glasses of wine or rum and cokes a week. She does not have any other health concerns. She has been forgetful for the last 5 years. However, her short-term memory has gotten worse. Okay, so let's answer this question, Amanda. And again, you can read the full questions at StephenCabral.com/442. So one of the best things to do to cut down on your risk for Alzheimer's is to make sure, one, you find out what your allele is, and that's as simple as running a genetic test. People with a 4-4 allele or even a 3-4 have a much greater chance of getting Alzheimer's or brain-based issues because of really trouble regulating inflammation. They do better on a Mediterranean-based diet, and they do better on a lower fat diet. Not a no-fat diet, just lower fat, lower in saturated fats, or at least inflammatory foods. That's what the data says. Please don't get upset if I'm not saying that keto is the best diet in the world, or paleo is the best diet in the world, or eating red meat and bacon 3 times a day is the best diet in the world. All I'm going by is the research, and I'm showing that research actually is legitimate, and it's been around for quite some time. The second thing is you want to lower cortisol levels. So you want to lower cortisol levels to try to prevent brain-based issues, because cortisol, high stress, burns out really the synapses. Really what we're talking about is a nervous system-based issue as well, but it affects brain cells too. The third thing is we want to check for, not for glucose, but for heavy metals. So running a hair tissue mineral analysis looks at higher levels of mercury, higher levels of aluminum. Those are 2 things that need to be lowered so she could do a heavy metal detox or run a hair tissue mineral analysis. Again, both of those. You'll be able to find everything on our website. One day we'll literally have everything that we do from our Boston practice on that website. But for right now, we're doing our best just to make sure the most popular things, the most needed things things are up there. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question, Amanda. And then also, keeping the mind sharp. Learning a second language, no matter what age you are, absolutely is a great thing to do. Another thing is word cross puzzle isn't even a real word. But just doing mind-based games, Sudoku, it can't be word cross puzzles, but you know what I mean. Those things where you try to figure out what the word is, keeps the mind sharp. Anything, any new hobby, anything to keep the mind sharp, learning new things will absolutely help as well. So I'll do a whole show on preventing Alzheimer's again in the future. Now, I have done it before, so you can go to stephencabral.com/podcast and just press the Command F on your computer and then type in Alzheimer's, and you'll be able to find my previous podcast on that. It's a little way to search that page. All right, Allison's question is up next. I'm going to try to shorten this because it's quite long. Let me just read the first part. I was listening to an episode Dr. Cabral previously did on hives and was hoping to get a question regarding my situation. I'm 34 years old. 4 months ago, I started getting hives in my bodies. I know I have hives every day and they are severe. She goes to talk about where they are. She stopped eating dairy, gluten, sugar, alcohol. This was 6 weeks ago. Also changed her household products. So Allison, great job doing that. She started taking probiotics, D, B12, a multivitamin. Started taking fresh garlic and coconut oil daily. She did standard blood tests with no problems. I have hives every day since mid-December. I would be grateful for any advice you could provide. Okay, so Allison, the main thing with hives that I've spoken about before is really the same issues you're looking at when you're trying to fix allergies and you're trying to fix asthma. You're looking at increased intestinal permeability. You're looking at So basically, you're looking at gut dysfunction. You're allowing additional proteins to seep into the bloodstream, which is then heightening the immune system. When this has happened for a long enough period of time, there's a form of medicine called homotoxicology. Almost no one studied it. And I'm just very grateful that was introduced to me. I studied it, and it shows disease progression. Now, dis-ease, we're using it as hyphenated, not an actual diagnosed disease. But what happens is, after a chronic period of time of your body being worn down from all of these proteins spilling into your bloodstream, your body switches to what's called a Th2 dominant immune response. What that means is you're going to get things like allergies, asthma, hives, these chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, kind of these longer standing things. And what we need to do is we need to cut down on the onslaught inside of your body. So detoxification obviously is imperative. You need to clean your blood. I mean, that's a big thing, but you also need to seal up the gut wall. So first you can start with the organic acids test or just do the Candida bacterial overgrowth protocol followed by the gut sealing protocol. Is it an overnight thing? No, but you're already going to start eliminating the food antigens that are coming into your body. Higher protein foods are going to do it. And then you're going to want to cut down on your high histamine foods. Certainly garlic, even though it's great, can be a higher histamine food. So we have to be careful with that. We have to be careful with smoked foods, leftovers, anything fermented. That's why fermented food, kombucha, is not great for everyone in the world. It's great for some people, but not everyone. So please do go back to that hives-based episode and just make sure you get all my different tips on that. And then start to heal and seal the gut. Do not use probiotics in the very beginning, but you can use them, yes, later on. Again, our protocol teaches all of those things. Another thing as well as just keeping in mind that you want to keep reducing your current antigen. So, keep doing what you're doing, like the dust mite pillows and all of those things, because your body right now is producing a larger amount of mast cells, and it's called mastocytosis. You're reacting with a higher level of histamines in your body, and you can react to almost anything. Like literally, you're just very chemical sensitive, and that includes food-based chemicals as well. One more thing is that keep in mind that eventually you'll be able to get rid of all of this. I got rid of it myself, and that's because this enzyme called diamine oxidase finally gets produced again in your gut, which then starts to degrade histamines on its own. But when your gut isn't healthy, it doesn't make that particular enzyme. I know I'm talking very fast. I apologize. I just want to get everything in. And as always, if something's important, you can just hit the rewind button and listen again. So hopefully that helps. Okay. So, and believe it or not, I actually think better when talking faster. So again, I apologize for the speed in which I speak. I will try to slow it down a little bit. All right, Maria is up next. Hi, Dr. Ball. Thank you so much for everything you do. Listen to your podcast. I know I have yeast overgrowth and was given antibiotics 3 times in 1 year. Have all the symptoms now feel like I have fibromyalgia, feel like it's getting worse. Will a gastrologist help me? Don't know where to turn. I'm really scared. If so, is there someone I could see for this on the North Shore in Massachusetts? I never would have known this if it wasn't for you. I would try on my own listening to what you say too, but I get a little mixed up on all the things. Thank you, Maria. All right, so Maria, first of all, we are probably at the maximum 30 minutes or 40 minutes south of you in Boston. So, of course, you can come visit us directly at the Cabral Wellness Institute in Boston. You can work with myself. You can work with one of the health coaches. There's a little bit of a waiting list right now for me to see people, but it's not too long. Well, we, of course, could help you. On the North Shore, I'm sure there's just, if you want, go to the Institute for Functional Medicine, look up naturopathic doctors in your area. Absolutely, you can do that. But you already know what you need to work on. You said you have yeast overgrowth from taking the antibiotics. So again, you could test for it using the organic acids test, or you could just complete the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol exactly as stated, and that's going to help you with those issues. I've already spoken about fibromyalgia. Was just lumped in with all the other things when you start to get this non-specific inflammation. Again, I had fibromyalgia. Mine was more around the abdomen, a little bit in the top of my thighs, my quadriceps. But again, all of that went away once I did heal and seal my gut. So that's the place to start. But again, if you feel more comfortable working with a coach, practitioner, or doctor, I totally understand that. I think guidance is fantastic. I always hire a coach when I'm a newbie in something, whether, like I said, it's podcasting or something technology based, or I'm trying to learn something like martial arts or whatever it might be. I agree with you. So do what you feel is best for you. Aiden is up next. Aiden, hi, Dr. Ball. I have Tourette syndrome and I've lived with it for at least 20 years. When I was younger, I was given medication. I took it blindly until I started to feel I wasn't myself. I accepted it as a part of who I am and accepted that I will live with it and stop searching for a cure. It's been so long since I've given much thought to treating it. Is there anything I can do to help control my tics? Anything I could focus on adding or taking away from my diet would reduce them. Thank you for your time and insight, Aiden. So Aiden, I totally feel for you. I think it's horrible that we never tell people there is actually an alternative. There is actually a second opinion. There is a way to get rid of or cut down on the tics or the repetitive motions or anything like that comes along with Tourette syndrome. And the bottom line is that you need to calm the central nervous system. So there are things that exacerbate or heighten central nervous system activity. One is caffeine. The other is artificial sweeteners. The other is food dyes. You have to get those out of your diet, without a doubt. Processed sugar out of your diet. I mean, again, like for you, we would use the Dr. Brawl detox. We would cut out the caffeine. You can do it slowly. You can wean yourself off, of course. And again, tune back in for my podcast on how to wean off of caffeine. That will teach you exactly how to do that. And that was on episode 403, StephenCabral.com. Episode 403 will teach you how to wean off of caffeine. But anything stimulant-wise, you have to come back on. You'll see tremendous help with that. Also, using something like our deep sleep protocol before bed, or at least something like the Natural Calm magnesium product. And you can do magnesium citrate before bed, and you can use magnesium glycinate during the day. That will help. So that's your place to start. Calm the central nervous system. Meditation, relaxation, flow tanks, which I've never even talked about before. Yoga, hatha yoga. No stimulants, no food dyes, no sugar. All of those things have been shown to help tremendously. Okay, I'm 3 minutes over, but I'm getting there, and we have our last question of the day from Edward. I'm currently battling the various symptoms of LPR, asthma, chronic, recurring cough, occasional lump in the throat, and general discomfort in lungs and throat. Is this disease something you have dealt with in your practice? And if so, what would you advise? LPR seems to be notoriously hard to beat. Okay, so it's funny that this question is asked. Not funny, of course, of what LPR is. So LPR, I'm just going to put this in just normal speak. LPR is essentially when you get acid reflux or GERD, and the acid literally moves past the lower esophageal sphincter, which is the bottom of your esophagus, which is the tube that when you swallow, the food goes down and goes into your stomach. It bypasses that, the acid, and it also bypasses the upper esophageal sphincter, which almost no one talks about, and that's the UES. And so I work with this condition. Again, it's not funny that this happens to people, but I just worked with this yesterday. I did my follow-up with someone after just 4 weeks in the protocol. No symptoms at all. So what we do is we look for the culprit of what the LES is, or the LPR is in this case. And the issue is typically stress. So that's one part of it. Why? Because stress won't allow the lower esophageal sphincter or upper esophageal sphincter to stay closed. So normal stomach acid, which is supposed to be in the stomach, that GI specialists like to shut off by taking Zantac or taking Prilosec, then, basically it moves its way up. So stress is the main facilitator of keeping those muscles open. The second part can be a hiatal hernia. That's a possibility. But again, we can work around that as well. The third is food combining, so improper food combining, so the food's actually fermenting in the gut. The second is probably in the fourth right now, hidden causes of H. pylori, candida, or C. diff, or other types of bacteria actually growing up into the stomach and gut. So certain types of food, any fructan-based foods, will ferment in the gut, causing basically gas, and that gas will push up the acid, which again is normal acid, up into the esophagus and the back of the throat as well in really tough cases. But it's not notoriously hard to beat. It's notoriously hard to beat only because there's no alternative but alternative medicine. That's it. Like, there's no other way to fix this except going after the root cause, which is stress-based and typically gut-based. So what can you do? Well, you can do, again, what I've been recommending a lot today is work on the gut healing, which is eliminating the bacterial overgrowth. That can be in the stomach. Again, that can be in the intestines as well. Sometimes it's just as easy as using the clean gut probiotics. Sometimes the whole bacterial protocol is needed. Another great product, which I don't even know if it's on our website yet, is called Healthy Belly. I believe it's called Healthy Belly. I always get this wrong, all the different names of every product, but I'm going to look this up right now for you quickly while giving you the answer. And this product contains berberine, mastica gum, zincarnazine. Absolutely amazing product. So good for the stomach health. That's obviously a supplement that I do recommend. And if it's not on our store, which I'm checking right now to see if it is, and it's not. Unfortunately, again, we don't have every single product up there. But what we can do is this. Email support@drcabraldetox.com. And if you'd like this product, we will mail it to you. Again, it's not on the website, but we will, obviously, we do have to charge you for the product, but we will mail that product to you if you would like. And also other things that work too are lowering those levels of stress, whether it be something like cortisol manager, whether it be something like magnesium. And also one other thing that works fantastically well is melatonin. Melatonin, taken at about 3 grams to start, half hour to an hour before bed, helps with GERD and acid reflux. The direct mechanism isn't quite known yet, but it's natural and it works fantastically well. So Edward, hopefully that gets you started moving in the right direction, but absolutely do not give up, because although it might be notoriously hard to beat for the conventional medicine system, it's only because they're not looking at what are the underlying causes for this particular, we'll call it defect, temporary defect in your digestive system. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral House Call, and I'll be answering more of your questions tomorrow on the Cabral House Call Part 2. Take care. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.